What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. It's officially here and it's officially time to begin our deep dive into MLB The Show 21. And the first video that we're going to be making within MLB The Show 21 is one of the features that I'm excited about that isn't super interactive. It's not as interactive as I thought it would be, but it's a feature that is going to be helpful to you guys in your franchise modes, and that is the new depth chart feature that's added into the game. Now, the first thing that I want to cover in today's video is how to actually get here because of the new user interface. It's a little bit different on how to access everything. So first things first, we're going to go ahead, back out of the franchise mode, and sit at the main menu. You're obviously going to go into franchise mode in order to access this, and then you're going to go to the top right where this little button is. It's a clipboard, and this is where you access everything in terms of your roster, your depth chart, your lineups, your pitching rotation. All that great stuff is under this one tab. And so the new depth chart that they've added into the game is a cool little tool that they've added that'll help you guys project out your future starters for your team and stuff like this. Now, this isn't a depth chart the way that you might think it would be as in a Madden game or something of that nature. This is a depth chart that is, specifically visual. It is not something that is interactive, and that's what kind of sets this apart from a depth chart on another game. I really would like if they would make this interactive, but there's really no way to affect this depth chart. Even if you go into your lineup and you change around the order of your pitchers, for example, it's not going to put, let's say I have Mitch Keller listed as my ace, it's not going to put Mitch Keller as the top player on the depth chart. It's going to list these guys by overall, or I guess by value. And that's the thing that's going to be, I guess, most important here in terms of your depth chart, is you're going to get a good look at basically how your team projects out into the future. And like I said, this isn't interactive, so I can't click in here and reorder the depth chart. I can't affect my lineups and rotations by editing this depth chart. I wish that you could, and maybe they will add that in the future. Maybe they'll add it in as a patch. It would be nice and easy as a Madden type of thing where, let's say I take Brian Reynolds and I drag him up and down on this, as in like a Madden franchise depth chart. That would be pretty cool to have, but that's pretty much all this is at this point, is a way to project out your future starters for your team and their future overalls. And so, not much to interact with here on this screen, but you can press L1 and R1 to go left and right between the years, between current year 2022, 2023, so on and so forth, and it's going to project out the overalls for these players and the future starters. So you guys can see a great example of this. Mitch Keller in 2021 starts out as a 69 overall. However, as you move forward within the years, you can see Mitch Keller starts to work his way up this depth chart and starts to work his way up in terms of overall. And so you can see by 2025, he's up to an 81 overall. It's a really good way to essentially project out what's going to happen with your players within your roster. And that's one of the things that I really like about this. But like I said, it's not as interactive, it's not as intuitive as you might think, because you're not going to get that opportunity to actually do anything with your roster based on this screen itself. If you want to edit your lineup, you want to edit your rotation or anything like that in franchise mode, you still have to do it from the lineup, from the pitching rotation screens, and then based on what you do there, that's going to affect how your team actually lines up and everything like that. You can't actually do that. It doesn't affect your depth chart. As you guys can see, I moved Mitch Keller to the top, and it still has him down here on the base of the depth chart. Now, this will update periodically as you advance through your franchise, and so it's going to update depending on how your players progress and things like that. And then the other thing that I want to note is that they have these nice symbols by each player to help indicate when a player's contract is up and where they stand as a prospect. And so, for example, Ji-Hwan Bae is a 68 overall, but he has that prospect symbol next to him, which is if you've played MLB for a while, a symbol that you're probably familiar with, which just indicates that he's basically a top prospect within the system and a player that you can expect to kind of jump up to the MLB level, in due time and take over and make an impact for you. And then the other symbol here is the contract symbol, as you can see beside Tyler Anderson, beside Trevor Cahill, behind Gregory Polanco. That symbol is essentially indicating that a player is due up for a contract. And as we see with Tyler Anderson, we can click on his player card and go over to his contract. And you can see he only has this 1 year remaining on his contract. And you can utilize that in order to look at the player and determine, whether you want to re-sign that player or not. And so the key thing here to look at is in the out years, you can see who's going to be due up for contracts, which can help to affect your decision making. It's easy now to see in out years, who's going to be up for a contract and when. I know that Eric Gonzalez is going to be up for a contract next year. Chad Cole, a couple years from now, Steven Brault, Wilmer Difo are going to be free agents. So you can get a good timeline of things with your players and make a determination on what to do with those players ahead of time. This is a really nice feature to have in the game, and it's all consolidated into essentially one screen that is really, really nice to have. And you can see your team salaries down in the bottom left-hand corner. You can see summaries in terms of, where you stand within the league in terms of your overall, your speed, your contact, your power, your pitching, and your defense. All of these things have been accessible to you before within franchise mode, but I like the way that they have it summarized within the depth chart screen. Now, one of the things that I'll say is that I think that it's a bit of a misnomer to call this a depth chart, because a depth chart implies that you can actually affect it, you can change it, you can physically edit it and move a guy up or down the depth chart on your own. In reality, this is more of just like a projection screen. This is like a futures projection is more so what I would call it, or a team summary or a team outlook. I think that would be a better name for it because of the fact that you can't physically do anything on this screen other than gather information and make decisions based on this information. Now, like I said, it's nice in the way that you can navigate between future years and help make decisions based on what's going on with the players on these depth charts. But something you can do is, let's say you see a piece of information here like, okay, Gregory Polanco's up for a contract. I don't want to have him return to the team. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to click on him, and it gives me the option to trade or view free agents that I could use to replace that position. So that's something nice you can do directly from this screen. Let's say you decide you want to make that decision, you can do it nice and quick from this screen, and that's super useful, super helpful. So, hopefully you guys will enjoy using this new depth chart type of screen and mechanic that they've added into MLB The Show franchise mode. I really like the fact that they added this. Realistically speaking, this is probably the biggest addition to franchise mode in MLB The Show 21. So that says a lot in the fact that they really haven't done a lot with franchise mode. So keep that in mind. And I will be coming out with my review of the game here soon. Depending on whether you're an Xbox player or a PS5 player, it's gonna kind of be a little bit of a different review for both consoles, because it's a little bit more worth it to get this game for an Xbox player versus a PSN player, because they haven't had access to it before. And so keep that in mind when we go into that review. But that's all I wanted to give for you guys today, is to show you guys the new mechanic, show you guys how to get to it, and basically what's available there for you and what you can do with this. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys look forward to more MLB The Show 21 content, tips and tricks videos. If you guys are looking forward to that and you like this type of video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, the bell notification button, so you're notified every time I upload a new video, and leave your comments down below. What do you guys think about this new addition to MLB The Show franchise mode? I like it a lot. Tell me what you think in the comments section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a good night.